Is it worth the effort? That's the first question an athlete should ask before beginning a training regimen. You may know your goal and understand your expectations, but are you committed to putting forth the effort required in order to achieve your goal? Perhaps you dream of certain achievements and imagine how you might feel when you reach the goal. It's not uncommon to hear an athlete say he or she has dreamed of this moment since their childhood. Before beginning a goal-driven journey, one should engage in serious self-evaluation to determine if the expense, time, and effort required are worth the price. If you're planning on running in a marathon, you must ask yourself if you're willing to commit to the necessary training to finish and hopefully win the race. You must also compare your skill set and body traits with other runners. Do you really have what it takes to win the marathon, or can you be content to be a participant who primarily competes against one's own personal best? Don't sell yourself short, for there are many people who've overcome talent deficits with extra work and training. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to dig deep inside in search of your second wind and a runner's high? Can your intense desire to succeed triumph over pain and exhaustion as you focus on the finish line? Sometimes we don't know the answer to these questions until we give it a try. Those who dreamed but never tried will never know the answers because they never tried. It is better to try and fail than it is to fail to try. We play the game because there are great lessons to be learned about ourselves, win or lose. Oh, and we also play because it is fun. It is necessary for us to enjoy the journey, win or lose. Let me say that again. It is necessary for us to enjoy the journey, win or lose. Some are so focused on winning, they lose track of themselves and push away important people in their lives. If the goal destroys the enjoyment of the journey, choose another goal because it is simply not worth it. But if we can remain balanced, then the thrill of victory can be uplifting when we realize all the hard work paid off. If you decide to participate in team sports, there are other factors to be considered, such as 1, are you willing to submit to a practice schedule that may not suit you? 2, are you ready to work with others toward a common goal? 3, will you put forth your best effort and try not to let your teammates down? And 4, are you willing to let someone else dictate your training regimen? Actually, you're putting a lot of trust in mentors when you choose to be involved in team sports. Many great athletes thrive in team sports and pull those around them up to a higher level of performance, while others are self-centered people looking for all the glory and fame. There's an interesting statistic in basketball, which I like, which is called an assist, when a player helps someone else score a basket. when players block out others so a teammate can break free, or when they make a pass to someone else who has a better chance to score. The player is putting the team first and helps them get one step closer to team goals. Ultimately, the whole team wins because there is no I in team. Sometimes winning doesn't feel like we had expected it to feel. For instance, I think of a runner who is at the finish line exhausted and gasping for breath and wanting some water. The first thing we often feel is exhaustion when we win. But it quickly turns into exhilaration when we realize we have accomplished our goal. The question has been answered. Yes, it is worth the effort. Now, how do we make the connection between sports and faith? Truthfully, keeping the faith is not always easy. And we sometimes become exhausted while striving to win our fight with the devil. But if we'll just hang on, something better is coming. And I promise it will be worth all the effort you put forth, refusing to give up or give in to evil. When you walk through the gates of heaven, you will rejoice that you remain faithful unto death. Surely there is no earthly exhilaration to compare with hearing the beautiful words, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." When we take our first glimpse of heaven, we will know it was definitely worth all our efforts to resist the ways of the world. I can't find the words to adequately describe how thrilled we will be when we walk into our heavenly mansion. The Apostle Paul sums it up like this: "The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may all also be glorified." And then Paul said, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed to us." And that passage is in Romans chapter 8, verses 16 through 18. This brings us to the soul-saving question: are we willing to put forth the effort needed to inherit heaven, or do we prefer to sit back in a spiritual fog, doing nothing, and hope for the best? In Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30, Jesus said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." In this chapter, we are trying to determine if God's blessings are worthy of our total commitment to him. Some desire to separate the amazing grace of God from our response to that grace. James, the earthly brother of Jesus, said, "Faith without works is dead." Can we ever do enough to earn our home in heaven? Absolutely not. But we should not be foolish enough to think there is nothing left for us to do. Jesus himself made it clear there is still something left for us to do, even though he has already bled for us. In Luke 9, verses 23 through 25, Jesus said, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake, he is the one who will save it. For what is a man profited if he gains the whole world but forfeits himself?" In this Bible passage and many others, Jesus makes it clear we must carefully consider all the factors before becoming a Christ follower. Jesus wants us to decide what we're willing to give up in order to become a Christian. Jesus insists we must decide what things or people are more important to us than him. In other words, what are we willing to trade for our souls? In Luke chapter 14, verses 27 through 28, Jesus said, "Whosoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it?" Jesus is asking us to consider the cost of embarking on this spiritual journey before we even start. Just like we would do if we were going to build a new house. Spiritually, we must decide if it's worth it to live the Christian life. To that I would simply say, there is nothing, there is no one on this earth that is more important to me than heaven. What a foolish mistake it will be if we decide to give up heaven for anything here on earth. Because everything on earth will someday be destroyed in the great fire which is yet to come. An athlete may put forth great effort to develop an athletic physique, and this is admirable. But listen to what Paul said to Timothy in 1 Timothy 4, verse 8. "For bodily discipline is only of little profit, but godliness is profitable for all things, since it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come." That, my friend, should answer the question, is it worth the effort to be a Christian? Yes, yes, yes. Heaven is worth it all.